from Stretford Paddock. My name's Joe. I'm joined by Alex and Jay for the review of Man United 2, Crystal Palace 0. That was alright, wasn't it?
It's pretty good. In the end, it looked shaky for a while.
I say alright, not in the sort of half joking that was really good way. It was actually alright, wasn't it?
It was It was sort of escalated above alright in the fact that the goals were a mint.
Yes.
Like the performance wasn't great, but I thought Marcus took his first goal amazingly, and me and you were waxing lyrical about his bit of skill to set up the second, and Martial's strength and finish as well. I mean, those two are just on fire now, and it shows.
Yeah. Yep. It's amazing that like Mason obviously wasn't great again today, came off for Jesse Lingard, but it seems like those front three, they just at least two of them seem to score every game, don't they? And Martial won't let Marcus get away from him, and Marcus won't let Martial get away from him. Both on 22 goals now.
It's what you need, and you don't just rely on one person, which we've seemed to have done since Fergie's left. And even while Fergie was still there, it was Van Persie was going to get you goals. Yeah. And then we've had, obviously, Zlatan, Rooney for a couple of seasons. Yeah. Zlatan came in, and then you had Lukaku, where you're kind of saying, if he doesn't score, who scores the goals? Where now you've got two lads definitely who've got over 20 goals each, and now Mason's chipped in with 15 goals plus. It's very good.
They seem to be more of a sort of partnership, those two, Martial and Rashford, than other teams. Like, look, I don't want to make this about them because it's not about them, but I'll mention it anyway. You watch the Scousers, and often Mane and Salah don't look like they get on. No. They don't. They look like it's like if one of them's got an half chance, the other one's in a better position. The one with the ball will go for it anyway. But they're obviously very talented and score lots of goals. But with Marcus and Martial, they're always giving it to each other. If one of them's in a better position, they'll lay it off. You see them working hard for each other, and they get on. And you throw Greenwood into that mix as well, who's obviously capable of scoring a goal. And you've just got like your classic three-pronged attack. It does, not saying it's as good before anyone gives me grief, but it does remind me of the Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo days because you've got three options who can all score goals. Whereas you've said in the past, you've had either if Lukaku don't score, we're struggling. If Zlatan don't score, or if Van Persie don't score, we're struggling.
Oh, at the start of the season, if Rashford didn't score, we're struggling.
100%. You remember I think it was the Burnley game where Rashford was injured, Martial had come back in. We lost, and everyone was slagging off Martial, saying, "Oh, he can't be." People saying we can't rely on Rashford; he's not good enough. And now you look at it, and everyone's raving about him. Yeah,
and obviously, what more needs to be said about Bruno Fernandes? Again, I'm almost sick of saying didn't have his best game today, but another assist. And
man of the match as well.
Man of the match from BT.
That's what I mean, it's mad. Like you say, he didn't have his best game, and you're right. He gets man of the match. Yeah.
And we win 2-0 again. And the first goal was, obviously it was a great finish and bit of play from Marcus, but Bruno got the assist again. Yeah,
he's unbelievable. He's so good. And this is the thing, that it's not just the strikers that you're not relying on them. You were almost at the start of the season, it was, we need Pogba there to create. That's the only person we've got to create. Now we've got Bruno that does that. And now the lads up top are doing it as well. They've got a bit more confidence. They're creating goals out of nothing. Not out of nothing, but the way Rashford took that goal, there's a lot of confidence in that, especially for someone that has been told that he's not been having the best run of games as well. It was brilliant.
And we talk about, obviously, the creation, the good end of things. We'll get back to the goals a little bit, the second goal specifically. But first half again, first 30 minutes especially, we noticed not the best of starts from United once more.
I know, and I will sort of make a slight, not excuse, but give a bit of sort of credit to the fact that Fosu Mensah's not played for so long. He comes in at the defence for the first time in ages. We have played a lot of football and not rotated. And I know Ollie made some changes.
Clean sheet. Clean sheet for Fosu Mensah.
So, I mean, and did he play 90 minutes, Fosu Mensah?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, that was like pretty amazing. Especially when, Palace think, one of them teams, but Zaha is a handful. Ayew's a handful. They're not a team that just rolls over. So, yeah, but me and you were saying, it was reminiscent, I think you said it was reminiscent of Southampton, the slow start there.
Yes, and Villa was the same, and Bournemouth was the same. Obviously, went down in two of those games. It was another inviting pressure start from United, which we need to sort out.
Like I know it was offside and VAR, but it's fine margins, and it's that could have gone the other way, and then it's a different game if Ayew gets that goal.
Absolutely.
And with Chelsea coming up at the weekend, who are a cut above the likes of Palace and Bournemouth and these other teams we mentioned, we do need to be at the races from the kick-off, because we can't be giving them half an hour head start and hoping that our strikers get us out of jail. I get it, we're tired. I get he's sort of stuck with the same team or the same 9 or 9 players every game, but there's no excuses come Sunday. We've got to step it up.
United have played against a team in the top 6, or I think I don't know where Tottenham were when we played them, but certainly top 6 since like February.
Yeah,
So it's going to be, it might be a bit of a shock to the system when we see a slightly different pressing system, a slightly different on the ball ability from Chelsea at the weekend. Obviously this game, we'll come back to this again a little bit. Are you concerned for the Chelsea match, or do you think, if anything, our style of play may actually suit the better teams a little bit more?
I don't know. It depends. I think there's a big possibility that it makes a big change to the system. You know, we've done this sort of 3 midfield with, yes, Pogba's going a bit deeper, but he's allowed to kind of have that free role. Bruno's kind of had that free role, and you've had Matic sitting today with McTominay. But the Chelsea game, you know, we've played Fred and McTominay for a lot of the big games this season and done very well all the way through. It wouldn't surprise me if those two played together. It wouldn't surprise me if you played Pogba and Bruno in that midfield diamond, or maybe even rested one of them, you know, because it has worked up against these big teams all the way through the season.
Yeah.
So maybe he reverts back to that. Maybe someone like Dan James gets a chance as well, you know, who
already scored against Chelsea this season.
Already done that. And it is going to be a very different game, because apart from the second half of Southampton where we were a bit poor, you know, we've not had a game where someone else has wanted the ball. We've not had a game like that.
Do you think it might be psychological as well going into a Chelsea game? You know, they're a top team.
Yeah.
Like there's a bit of, even we've done it as fans. You're watching them against Southampton, you think we'll get out of jail here.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Slow start. We'll kick on. But do you think they might go into Chelsea thinking, you know, we've got, these are like, with the likes of the players they've got, it's...
And maybe a few less risks taken in the middle. And we saw Paul Pogba tonight giving the ball away a couple of times, like he did against Southampton for the goal. He did it again tonight, getting caught, turning into space that wasn't there. And I think that you'll see a lot of that ironed out for the Chelsea match. That extra just level of, I have to watch my back here because there'll be Kante up my arse, or, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think hopefully that will help us iron out some of the sort of complacency. We're looking at the league table there. Again, it doesn't show there the goal difference. We are still 3 goals behind Leicester.
The one worry I kind of had, because I heard Leicester 1-0 up or 2-0 up when we were on our way here, we kind of going, do you know what? Wolves, Tottenham and Sheffield United are sort of out of everything now. What are they going to have to play for? Because we need favours off Wolves to try and catch Chelsea. We need favours off Tottenham to try and catch Leicester, or to give us a bit of a buffer. But you see below them, that's not decided yet.
No, the European places aren't done.
They need to win just to get into the Europa League. So it's not even a case of, yes, Wolves now can't get the top 4, or they have to win.
It's very unlikely.
Very unlikely, because their goal difference is poor to get into the top 4.
Yeah.
But now they're probably looking over the shoulders and going, Sheffield United could easily catch us. So I think it's going to come down to that last day of the season. It's going to come down to the last kick of the.
We've seen it ourselves as well. You know, what did Southampton have to play for? Yeah, they turned up. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't count even the teams that Palace tonight gave us a game. They've not really got anything to play
They've
for.
Lost 6 on the bounce as well.
Yeah, and it's you know, professional pride. It's wanting to do the best you can before the season ends. It's managers trying the best. There's that, just watching that penalty on penalty appeal against Zaha. So yeah, I don't think you can just count any team out.
No,
they've showed that again. It looks like he does slightly nick the ball. I think there is half an argument.
If that happened on Martial, I think we'd all be sat here saying he kicks his leg and he don't get the ball.
Obviously, I mean,
I
did think he got enough for the ball.
Yeah.
But I get it was almost like the ball and the man at the same time,
which
so
I think is a foul, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know what
it's
the rules on that.
Again, when it's VAR, it's going to be that millimetre.
But this is what I mean. These are fine margins, because if that's given against you, you sort of go, you're screaming and shouting, but it's not that unexpected. No. If that goal had been given, you know, it's not that unexpected. So you've just got to sign it up a little bit. I know you get the rubber to green and these fucking even themselves out or whatever. Yeah, but
let's talk about that second goal then. Obviously, the pressure got put on. There was a bad injury during the goal to Patrick Van Aanholt, which not quite sure what happened. I don't know if his ankle got caught under Martial and it was an ankle thing, or if he landed and it was a collarbone arm thing. But it looked like a severe injury to Patrick Van Aanholt, getting air and stuff as he came off. But the goal, we saw ball out to Bruno on the left, and Meggs, I think, through to the edge of the box to Rashford, and Rashford, that first time pass to my favourite part of the goal, and I said it earlier on in the game where Martial sort of peeled off his man and went into the wing for the ball down the line. That run from Martial, and I know they've always had kind of a connection, him and Rashford, but I just don't think he would have made, or would have been certain to have been found when the ball gets played in before. A couple of years ago, Martial isn't peeling off his man to try and get into the box. He's sort of maybe stood there waiting for the pass in. Martial obviously running in, collects the ball and puts it across the goalkeeper. But it was just a lovely bit of build-up, a lovely bit of play. Nice interplay from Rashford and Martial, and a lovely goal, wasn't it?
100%. I mean, you know, I was sort of screaming, give him options because it looked like he was just surrounded at one point, didn't he, Marcus? He gets away out, and yeah, like you said, the interplay with those two. It was a problem under Jose. Do you remember when like Lukaku was out and he played them two up top against Brighton, I think it was, and we got beat, and it looked like they were just on totally different pages.
Yeah.
They weren't playing well together at all. And Jose, in his usual way, sort of went out and said, "Well, that's why I play Lukaku every week."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To sort of throw them both under the bus.
It's not my fault. I didn't want to play him anyway.
Yeah, well, you know, now you'll see why you know I'm always playing Lukaku. Them two aren't good enough, and you got the feeling, the sort of niggly feeling that although they're both talented, it's probably not going to work out with both of them. He's put it to bed. I mean, we saw the quotes coming out, didn't he? That Ollie said to Martial, "If you want number 9, it's yours, but you've got to work for it."
Yeah, and
he has done
something with Martial, Alex. The side of his game where obviously people always say you can't teach finishing and all that sort of stuff. We knew he had that. Yeah. The finishing has always been there from Martial. You saw it from the first 6 games he played for United, where I think he scored in 5 of them. He could finish the ball. When he's in front of goal, he's good, and he continues to be good at that. The other side of it, the striker role, where the runs that he's making and the ability and the confidence to push a man off or to think, actually, you know what, that ball's between us here. I'm going to get that ball. Yeah. That seems to have come on leaps and bounds, even this season, doesn't it?
Yeah, I said I think you're now seeing Martial can have a bad game or an off night in front of goal or an off night with a touch and still contribute. Whereas I think beforehand, if he didn't score or if he was a bit off, he just looked. The game passed him by. Marcus does the same thing, but you see Marcus, he does the extra press and he does all that kind of stuff. Whereas Martial doesn't overly do that. But I think Martial is getting better, as like you said, being a number 9, getting involved when he doesn't, a bit more hold up play, winning the ball back, doing that defensive striker role that everyone keeps.
Which is quite frankly the only type of striker. The more goals your striker scores, the shitter he is.
Your striker's job is to stop their centre back from scoring. And that's his job.
Yeah, and it's not that he's not going to have a lot of shots. He's going to have one of the most shots in the league. He's just going to miss them all, and that's a good thing. Yeah. Any comments for us to come to before we finish up tonight?
Let's have a quick look.
So I'll put you on the spot there. No comment. There's not been one comment.
Ross is saying Martial looks like a complete number 9 now.
Yeah, go on.
There's a stretch to that. I think he does need to work on. He scored a couple of headers this season, but again, adding that to his game.
Heading would be the one.
He can almost get away with it if you play a certain way of not having that. Like Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez. I know Ronaldo was good in the air, but he wasn't the sort of tip of that trident who got his head onto things. He scored from set pieces more often. Yeah. So it was like you don't have to have a traditional number 9 in the sense of Lukaku or a Zlatan. And the way these three play.
And you look at the way Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw put the balls in, it's usually just low balls, so they can tap it in rather than
and what I like about Martial now is he's getting into those areas for those balls. Yeah. Beginning of the season, he wasn't making those runs, was he? No. And now he is, like you were saying, he's getting into like going near post, going back post, getting himself in that 6-yard box for the tap-ins.
Yeah, those two against Sheffield United were great. The one tonight is really good. I love his on the shoulder of his man, collects the ball, composed in front of goal, side foots it in. Brilliant goal.
Comments on Wan-Bissaka saying he played a nice game as well. Started a bit dicey, but was good. And he's just
almost went under the radar.
Yeah, he's just a solid.
What did you think of McTominay, by the way?
He questions his positioning more than Matic does. Yeah. He takes half steps in directions and then corrects himself a lot more than Matic does. As we see the sort of the edge of Stephen Howson brushing across the frame there, in case you're wondering. There it is. There's
some shadow over me.
There
now.
It is. Look at that. Fucking Bigfoot sweeping in front of the camera. But yeah, McTominay, I think I don't know whether it's just the way he plays or he just don't quite have. He's overthinking it a little bit. But sometimes he seems to, like I said, take a step one way and go back, and he's thinking about his position.
I think he wants to go further forward and he wants to get involved with it more. I think that's his instinct.
That's the most difficult thing for a DM. Yeah. Discipline. If you're not a natural DM.
Matic, you just see, he just fills in gaps and does that. And I think Carrick did that. I mean, Carrick was one of the best at that, where just filling in gaps, not doing anything wrong, and almost being a bit more boring. And I think what Scott maybe needs to do, especially if we're going to keep Pogba and Bruno, especially if that's the system we're going to play.
Which why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't be? If they're the players we're going to have in that system, if we're going to play 3 ahead of him, he needs to kind of fit into that more number 6 role and be a lot more defensive.
Before we go, can we just...
We've got a quick super chat. Okay, quick. We won't even know we played bad. I will take that.
I don't think we even played that bad. I just thought there were things to work on. But again, though, really, if when you look at the chances missed and the chances we allowed against us, this wasn't dissimilar to the Southampton game.
No.
Like, we missed a couple of chances. Martial was through and he missed it. Rashford missed a chance from 6 yards out, and instead of that Ayew goal being disallowed, it was allowed in. Like, this could easily have been 1-1. This was a tough, scrappy game against a decent side, but we won it.
I think, you spot on. The two main differences are when we needed to get that 2-goal cushion, we got it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If Martial don't get that goal, I think the last 11 minutes of that game, or whatever it was, stoppage time,
would have been
different.
hell.
Yeah, and he made a couple of changes for this game. Whereas we went into the Southampton game, I think, full strength, which almost made it worse because you're like, fucking
no
hell,
excuse.
everyone's knackered and we've not got the win. So yeah, you're right. It was very similar, but just those little fine margins.
Yeah, exactly. Also, before we go, I would like to just go back to. Do you remember before lockdown ended and people were saying, "Can Bruno and Pogba play together?" That's become the most ridiculous thing that's ever been said, hasn't it?
Saying that, we were.
I might have been saying it,
I don't
and
think
if I did, I was ridiculous because it just works.
It was almost like that. Fred and McTominay had played so many good games, and especially, I mean, everyone had the City game stuck in the head where we did so well in midfield. Bruno played well. I was just like, we don't need Pogba, do we? He's just going to mess this up.
That was the thing. Was people were questioning. To be fair, people were saying like, oh, like you said about Pogba, how essential is it? Has he got to get his way back into the team? It literally took 5 minutes against Spurs for everyone to go, we need Pogba.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got to play them both.
And the big thing is that we didn't see Matic coming back in again, which he's done.
That's true.
And played as that 3. I don't think everyone was kind of going, well, if Pogba comes in, is it going to be McTominay? Is it going to be Fred?
And I would like to just make it slightly different to the game, but I think as good as Greenwood's been and as incredible as his career can be if he goes the way he has, I think it's a similar sort of situation to do we need Paul Pogba in the system as do we need Jadon Sancho on that right-hand side?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. Right, that's going to be all from us tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got fan cams, we've got all sorts coming up, and of course we'll have all the build-up to the game on Sunday. And we ain't got very long, let's be honest, have we? Chelsea have been asleep for the last 48 hours, relaxing, ice baths, massages. United have got to get straight back on the coach, land in Wembley tonight, play them on Sunday. Thank you very much for joining me, Jay. Thanks for joining us, Alex. Thanks for joining us at home. Get your comments in, what you thought to the game. We'll see you in a bit.